Welcome back to the Cactus Pit Podcast. I'm your host, Shawn Drinks.
And I am Ryan the Bearded Bastard. And today we have Steven Ocho Peterson, newly retired UFC fighter, long career, great career. Also, business Fight Fit Fight League coming to you. Going to be promoting upcoming amateur fighters and bringing them to you, and so you guys can enjoy that entertainment. Steven, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely,
man. This is fun. I like the setup you got here, and it looks like it's gonna be a good show, huh?
I hope so. I hope I don't say anything stupid and get my ass whooped later. But I do have to. I'm a big fight fan, and obviously, I've seen you in the UFC and in competition, and it's pretty incredible. And I kind of wanted to ask you, like when you're leading up to a fight, mentally and physically, how are you preparing yourself for things like that?
You really just got to be right with yourself. You got to be right with God. You got to be like ready to die in there, like at least prepared. If worst case scenario happens, you have to be okay with the way you leave things. So I'll clean out my closet, start cleaning out my drawers, just to clean out my trunk. Like I want everything to be, settled, so that when I go in there, there's no holding back. There's no, oh, what if I did this? What if I did that? Oh, I should have did this. I try to get all those things done so that when I'm in there, all that matters is, do or die.
Absolutely. So when you start training camp, how much of a percentage of a time are you walking into a fight possibly injured or hurt? What percentage of the time are you stepping in there?
I'd say 100%.
100% of the time?
I mean, at least banged up, bruised. The idea is it's a healthy medium, because if you're training hard, you're going to take some sort of damage, especially week after week after week. The accumulation adds up. So about 2 weeks out from a fight, you're doing hard rounds, like 5 rounds, 6 rounds, fresh guys, and then about a week out, you do your final rounds, and then you recover and cut weight. So try to recover as much as possible in that last week leading up to the fight, and then just enjoy the process. But you're never 100% healthy when you get in there.
And that's what I always wondered, because from an outsider looking in, you see the guys out there and you just assume they're 100% on point that day.
Right.
That they're ready to go.
Like, why the hell isn't he doing that? Why isn't he?
Get off the ground.
Yeah. Like get up. You don't understand. His leg might be, torn, or you really don't know what the fighters are going through, on the outside looking in.
So, some of the time when I see the grappling taking place, I just think to myself, like, how much mental conversation is going on with yourself during those exchanges to just kind of power through that? Like, you're stuck in a bad head and arm choke, or you're on bottom and you're having to fight to get back up, and it's like you just mentally, are you talking to yourself in that moment? Like, come on, let's go. Or is your mind just blank and you're full primal? How is that feeling?
I've never been in a legitimate submission attempt in a fight, at least not in my later years. Early in my career, there was sometimes, but it was kind of just like red. Like I'd be stuck in a deep guillotine, but I just scramble and spiral out of it. Now it's more cerebral, and I just don't end up in those types of positions. But honestly, I'm like singing like rap songs in my head, like Eminem songs. I'm just like, with Till I Collapse, or
Mom Spaghetti.
Yeah, like when I'm in there, just going through the motions. I've been there so many times. It's like you can close your eyes, and especially on the ground, grappling, it's like I'm home there. I could just close my eyes and just be comfortable. Stand-up's a little bit more chaotic.
Can you put me in an arm bar just for the fuck of it?
Yeah, but you might end up in a cast.
That's fine.
It's totally fine, Stephen.
Yeah,
Fuck it.
It's for the show. When did you first start amateur fighting? What age did you step into the cage as an amateur?
So I was 17 years old. Got in a lot of trouble at school, fights at school. Started a fight club in my backyard, called it Friday Night Fights.
Hell yeah.
And all the kids that thought they could fight from school would would come gather in my backyard. My parents were going through a divorce, so I can kind of get away with whatever I wanted. And Mom was like, as long as you don't leave the house. So I was like, all right. So we'd have like 20-year-olds in the backyard, like people like should be in college or whatnot. Just like the hood would be in the backyard, and we'd all be throwing on these little gloves with the fist pack. They were the old Century MMA gloves, and no holds barred. We'd beat the crap out of each other, kick each other in the head on the ground. And we're lucky nobody got severely injured, but there were times when this one kid would catch me in a triangle choke, and he'd start elbowing me in the top of the head, split me open. I'd be bleeding everywhere, and they'd be like, all right, it's over, stop it. I'd be like, no, like, fuck that. What are you doing? What is this? And he's like, well, it's jiu-jitsu. I was like, I got to learn that shit. So he was actually training out of a garage, Coach Garcia's Second Chance Gym in McKinney. So I went there, trained for 30 days, and had my first amateur fight.
Wow.
So
that's quick.
Yeah, 30 days later, jumped in the cage. Basically got the crap beat out of me for 3 rounds, but I knew how to throw on an arm bar. And the dude would pick me up, slam me on my head, and then, I'd re-guard up, he'd throw some more punches, get him in another arm bar, and that was basically the story of that fight. And then I went in the bathroom after that fight, spit the blood in the sink, looked at myself in the mirror, and I was like, this is it. This is it. I was like, I just got to learn what they're doing. I just got to train. So after that, won my next 5 amateur fights and went pro at the age of 18.
Man, that's impressive to be going pro at 18 years old. I couldn't find my ass with both hands at 18, let alone be a pro fighter.
I was just wild, man. I was living life on the edge, and it worked out.
So, sorry.
Go ahead.
So where'd the nickname Ocho come from?
So I grew up in Los Angeles. I moved to McKinney, Texas when I was a sophomore in high school. I joined the football team. So they put me on the O-line as a tackle. And you see I'm not a huge person, right? So the varsity squad would point at me, and I had the number 8, and Ocho. And then they'd run me in the dirt and just like shake me up afterwards, and I'd get up and start swinging. And then, that kid Ocho, he thinks he could fight. And I was like, what's up? So that was just the name of where I come from. You talk shit, you get hit. So people would talk shit. I'd start throwing hands, and then when the school year started, the whole school knew me as Ocho, the kid from L.A. that thinks he could fight. So that's kind of, it just stuck.
It's funny. It thinks he can fight. He can fight.
He can definitely fight.
Yeah, they had to learn that the hard way.
So it sounds like to me, you came up rough, which I can also kind of same upbringing. Parents split up around like 11 or 12. Lived with dad. Kind of had free reign. Same thing. Got in a lot of trouble. Used to run around in like Honda Civics thinking we were fast and furious. Back in the day. And we also tried to start a fight club that lasted 2 fights. Yeah. We went to the courts. Johnny Baldwin fought another guy named David. Great fight. The next 2 guys, shitty fight. After that, everybody was like, yeah, this is stupid. So at the end of the day, it sounds like to me, coming from where you come from in L.A. and growing up the way you did, kind of being a wiry, kind of, take no shit attitude type of guy, which I can appreciate. It sounds like it was kind of a chaos at first, and then fighting kind of became like a way of peace for you.
Yeah, I tend to thrive in the chaos.
Okay.
When shit's too calm, then I end up getting in trouble, or I don't know, or I'm just not inspired, and so I create chaos by, having a lot of things going on, or, you talking about Fast and Furious. At 16 years old, I had a 5.0 Fox Body Mustang, and man, I got in a lot of trouble with that thing. I got a felony evading arrest charge, and the whole school watched me speed by with a bunch of cops, probably 15, 20 cops. They had a helicopter. Watch my documentary. We got a pretty dope story. I got a couple of friends that were involved telling the story. And, that was a crazy time, and I got arrested for that at 16. And then when I was 18, I did the same damn thing on a motorcycle. So,
Jesus.
there were many times when maybe I got away, but when you get caught, it's not very good.
No.
So I learned the hard way, to respect authority, and life gets a lot easier when you just pull over and you say yes sir, no sir, thank you for this ticket.
Mm-hmm.
You said you have a documentary that it's not out yet, correct?
Right. So we're doing a screening at the Memorial Weekend Fight Festival, May 27th and May 28th. That'll be a invite-only event, and you gentlemen are invited.
Let's go. Let's go.
The rest of the people that might look forward to watching that, hopefully it'll get picked up by UFC Fight Pass. If not, we're pitching it to networks after the screening. We'll be pitching it to Netflix, Hulu, Peacock, you name it. We're going to pitch it to all the networks, see what kind of response we get. But it's going to get picked up somewhere. I mean,
Definitely.
It's a hell of a story, and the fact that I just retired from the UFC makes it more relevant. I believe UFC Fight Pass would be, smart to pick that up.
I think as a fight fan, we're always curious to the lives that the fighters lead outside of the cage, because we kind of assume you guys are superheroes. We're like, these guys are just...
Or they're just a bunch of dumb brutes, right?
Right. Well, you got to have both. Right?
One or the other, and there are plenty of those. But, everybody's got a story, and that's kind of the premise behind Ocho TV. Why we started Ocho TV was to give the fighters a voice so that the fans can engage with the fights and not just want to see somebody bleed or want to see somebody get knocked out. Like, yeah, we want to see our guys succeed. But when you know the fighter's story, then you're actually emotionally invested into that fight. So it's not just it's not just a spectacle. It's something that people get behind, and I feel like the fans will eat that up, and it'll help them actually give a fuck about what happens to the fighter in the cage, and then what happens after. After the fighter gets knocked out, jaw broken, whatever. Nobody cares. Nobody even knows. Nobody even keeps up with the fighter after the fight. You go back to the bar after the fight, and then you go get drunk, and you have a great time. Next day, you're not even thinking about it. Okay, that fighter is in their own living hell, or they're on cloud nine, and nobody really follows the fighters after the fight. It's just a destination, and then out of sight, out of mind.
As far as the fighters being successful, what are your thoughts on, and I know both of y'all can kind of touch on this a lot more than I can because I'm not super educated on it, but UFC did a merger recently or something was like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know. But
so, I mean, Ryan can probably speak on it a lot more than I can, but like, what are your thoughts on the what business is it that like bought the WWE or something?
Endeavor bought the UFC, and then I believe Endeavor is the company that acquired WWE, and now UFC and WWE are under the same umbrella.
Okay, so like, what does that do as far as like retirement, pension, and stuff like that for fighters? And what are your thoughts on that?
I don't think it does a whole lot. I think as far as the promotional aspect, it could do a lot. A lot of crossovers. A lot of people are worried that now the fights are going to get fixed or whatnot. That's not the case. These are sanctioned bouts, whereas WWE is more entertainment, right? But the crossover is going to be, okay, now the fighters get to express the fact that we're entertainers. Mm-hmm. We wouldn't get paid just to fight in a cage if we weren't entertaining masses. So we are entertainers, and once we realize that, then we can actually make a career out of entertaining people. You don't have to really fight. Like, what's the point of fighting in a cage? It's a means to an end. So if you fight until you get picked up by the WWE, is that selling out, or is that living your dream? Isn't that the goal, to fight so you don't have to fight anymore? The whole goal, like, we don't want to fight for the rest of our lives. If you do, then you may be a dumb brute. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was one time where I was young, and I had said, I'll always fight, and I'll always fight for, one, for what I believe is right, and two, for my own safety and freedom, right? But aside from that, why am I fighting to entertain fans that don't give a fuck about us? So when I could just entertain people by promoting fights, or if I could go put on a costume and go out and hype people up at the WWE, that's entertainment. Why fight? You know, you make a lot more money entertaining people than you do, you know, fighting.
Everybody loves the show, you know, and at the end of the day, I think when I think about like Pride back in the day, for example, and they would come out, I mean, they'd have these giant screens and flames and, you know, fireworks going off. And I mean, the whole thing was just epic, you know, it was incredible. It was a spectacle.
Yeah.
Guy walks out, you got Rampage, he's got the chain. Oh,
you're going to love the Fight Fit Fighting League.
I mean, dude, it's awesome. You know, I remember, it's just, the thing is for me that I didn't like that the UFC did is like the Reebok deal. And I know that seems like a why would you care? But for me, it's like I really enjoyed seeing the fight teams come out as a team, like with their kit on, with their gear on, with their sponsors and the money that you guys could make off of those sponsorships, right? So for me, it's like when that happened, it felt like everybody's kind of fighting on the same team or something. Like it just didn't feel like it felt before. And it's, I don't know, to me, fighting is, I want to see that. I want to see where these guys are coming from. I want to
individualize the fighters.
Exactly.
We're not just a number. Where I wish it would have gone is we should have got to customize our own kits. That would have been dope. To where, okay, yeah, we all have the Reebok fight kit, but I got the Ocho version with my design, and I get to have my people design that, and it's branded Reebok. That would have been cool, and that would have been legitimized. The issue with the everybody walking out with their custom stuff is there's no legitimacy. Some people were walking out like wearing basketball shorts
or condom scents.
Yeah, random brands and,
priced on the butt, of course.
Some people wearing I forget his name, but he wore like a G-string. It was like, okay, there's got to be some sort of uniformity there.
Is it Borat?
He's one hell
You know
of
what I'm
a
talking about? Like the fucking. He's got
the unitard.
Yeah.
A onesie. So whenever Fight Fit Fighting League, whenever it kicks off, you know, how often can we expect to kind of see those events? Are you looking to do it quarterly, monthly?
I'm planning on 4 over the next 12 months, and then eventually ramping up to doing one every month.
Okay.
So awesome. I want to be, Dallas, Austin, Houston, Colorado, California, Vegas, and Florida. Those are like the immediate states that I want to do, and I want to continue expanding. The whole idea is on the professional level. So we're a pro amateur league. We have pros and amateurs, mostly amateurs right now, but that's because we have mostly guys in Texas, right? So we build up the guys in Texas as amateurs, and when they go pro, we don't want them fighting other guys from Texas. We're flying guys in from California, from Colorado, to fight the guys from Texas. And then when we go to Colorado, we're going to fly guys in to fight the guys from Colorado. On the amateur level, we got to establish, like, you know, who's the guys around here, right? On the professional level, there's no reason why a guy from Dallas should be fighting a guy from Arlington. It doesn't make sense. It's like we're just knocking each other down when we can get all of Texas behind the Texas fighters fighting against the guys from California. And that's the way we that's kind of our business model and how we're going to grow our league and get the fans behind the fighters.
I like that. Kind of regional.
Yep.
Regional teams.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's dope, man.
And would this be an individual competition, or is this tournament style? How does this work?
Right now we're starting off with the individual competition, but as we get our database built up and we start to go from state to state, then we'll eventually be doing tournaments from, you know, Cali versus Texas, or one state versus another state, or north versus south, east versus west, and kind of build it up that way. There's a lot of ways we can run with it, but the model has to stay true to pros from Texas don't fight pros from Texas, pros from Cali don't fight pros from Cali, unless there's some sort of super fight with a major hype behind it, which is we can always have those fun, like, grudge matches and stuff like that. It's all about entertainment, but we don't want to beat each other down here on the early pro levels. It's just been it's been an issue ongoing. There's a lot of guys that should have made it to the UFC or to the higher leagues that got stuck on the local league because they're always fighting the other top guys from around here.
So you have to kind of limit the damage that you take on your way up.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're the best guy around here, why are you fighting the other best guy from around here when you guys could both be on the same quote team?
So do you find it hard to find training partners as a professional fighter in the area that you're in due to that fact?
Not around Fortis. I mean, that was the whole point of, like, at Octagon MMA, that was like the staple for Texas fighting, or at least Dallas based. Everybody that was on the pro team over there, when I joined, there was about 5, maybe 10 pros there, and I was fighting those guys. I had a couple wins against those guys. Eventually, I had a couple losses against those guys, and then I joined them. So then we were like I still had my jiu-jitsu team. I still had my Muay Thai team, but I had no MMA training partners. And then I went there. We were a team of MMA fighters. We all had similar goals, right? We all wanted to fight in the UFC. So that led to a lot of other people from different gyms swallowing their pride and joining Octagon MMA. And I believe we had about 30 professional fighters, and we kind of got kicked out or pushed out from Octagon MMA, and then that built up our opportunity to start Fortis MMA.
And Fortis MMA, man, you guys are absolutely killing it right now. You know, I know Saif Sayoud, I believe he won Coach of the Year, Trainer of the Year.
He's won Coach of the Year like countless times. We won Top Gym of the Year for 2022, and I mean, a lot of eyes on us. We have 20 plus UFC fighters, and then I'd say at least 30 other pros that need to fight. They need opportunities to fight, and then countless amateurs looking for opportunities as well.
That's incredible. And they span all weight classes, or are you guys kind of specific to a weight class there?
Yeah, we really all weight classes. We don't have a whole lot of 25ers. We have a couple. Well, we have a few now, and then I don't think we have more than 2 heavyweights, but everywhere in between we're stacked.
Awesome. That's incredible.
I've been in there a couple of times because Courtney, my fiance, will bring me up there every once in a while to train with Darius, and most of the time, there's not really anybody in there. But whenever I go in there, there's people. I'm like, this is fucking badass. It's a dope fucking gym, man. That place is awesome.
Yeah, it's home.
Yeah,
I
good.
love it.
Yeah, I have a gym just like that. That's back in Tennessee. A buddy of mine. It's called the Grid House, and it's just one of a kind. It's home for me as well. Very big bodybuilding, powerlifting type gym.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you have a place of solace like that is fucking amazing. It's great.
So is that kind of what inspired you to start Ocho TV? Was being around the gym a lot, seeing the guys, and being like, this is content that people should see, or what kind of got you started with that?
The stories of the fighters that the people don't get to see, or they don't necessarily care. They just want to see the fight. But if they actually got behind the fighters, then I feel like it would just change the dynamic of the sport. It wouldn't be such a blood sport. It would be a fan sport. The fans get behind the fighters, and that helps build up the fighters. That brings more money to the sport. And I just want people to give a fuck about these fighters that are putting their life on the line, essentially.
Absolutely.
For entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially. Like, people don't realize, like, yeah, we're fighting for money. For the amount of work that we put in to be on that level, you can be successful and make money doing anything else. Like, I got good money towards the end of my career. I was getting paid a good amount. But then I'm at somebody else's mercy. They tell me who and when I'm going to fight, and my life's on the line. My whole legacy is on the line every time I get in there. So for the amount of work that you have to put in, the money's not worth it. I could have went and became a doctor, a lawyer twice in the amount of time I put into fighting. But it was my calling, and I love to do it. And now going forward, I want to give the fighters a voice. I want to give the fighters a opportunity and a platform to essentially not have to fight.
I know you have your hands into a lot of different things, and I saw recently you had promoted something called Head Kick. It's like your own brand of like a strain of weed or something like that.
Yeah, Head Kick is we're using Ocho OG strain of weed, marijuana, and Head Kick is a premium pack of pre-rolled joints. So pretty cool graphics on there, and it's I'd say higher quality than your average celebrity brand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And is the brand, is that started for the medicinal purposes of the plant, like for injuries, to deal with inflammation, to deal with pain? Because I know all the pain in the training and the fighting, obviously you're all constantly, I'm sure you're in pain somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. And for the headspace, to relax after a hard training session, or you're in pain and you got to go train. That's kind of what the Head Kick's about. It's a good sativa, kind of a hybrid, but mainly sativa, something that you could smoke on your way to training. You won't just be like dumb. Mm-hmm. You're going to just be, it's a good euphoric vibe. It sets a vibe for you. So, I tested it personally, and I've been advocate for marijuana pretty much since I was like 15 years old. And now that I'm retired, I actually smoke quite a bit less, because I don't have to come down from a training session, like super intense training session that I get done, say like 10, 11 at night. I get home and I'm just like all hyped up, and I got to get rested so that I can wake up 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning, go train again. So I'd get home and I'd sit there and just puff until I pass out. And then now I'm doing more cerebral computer work and spreadsheets, presentations, stuff like that. So it doesn't quite apply so much lately as it did when I was in my fighting career. So yeah, I think it's more medicinal than anything else, because you got to use it at the right time.
Do you feel like it gives you like a like more of like a mind muscle connection, like whenever you were like training at the gym and stuff like that? Do you feel like you're more in tune with your body when you're doing that?
Yeah, you don't have to think so much.
Yeah,
because when you're fighting, you're not thinking. When you're rolling, grappling, you shouldn't be thinking. You got to think about the technique before to learn it. But once you know these techniques, it should be muscle memory.
Yeah.
It should just be clicking. There's really once you're thinking, you're already a step behind.
That's why I was always a step behind.
You think too much.
It's I think for me, as a guy who trains as a hobbyist, right? I've done Muay Thai and jiu-jitsu, and I love it. I'm not a wild man like yourself. I just want to be able to defend myself, right, and my family and the people around me. But with that came a lot of discipline. I can accredit the fact that, like, going to the gym, training, being on a team, being consistent, having guys that need you to be there, like, to be accountable, led to a lot of success in other avenues of my life. And I just wanted to see maybe if you felt the same way, like that discipline gave you, kind of empowered you in a way to go into other aspects and avenues of life and business.
100%. Yeah, there's people that count on you. People look up to you. Like, one major thing was when COVID happened, it was like, all right, well, I'm locked down. What am I going to do with myself? I'm going to, fuck off and do whatever, right? What do I got to do tomorrow? So I have, 20-something students that are looking up to me, and they have nothing to do as well. So I started a Skype class. I was like, okay, I'm going to keep my students accountable, which in turn kept me accountable. So it was a win-win, because if I didn't have anybody keeping me accountable, then I was going to fuck off. And, I did plenty of that, but I still had to be accountable to my students, and then I had to hold them accountable. So that was the win-win with that, is people look up to you, people count on you, so you have to be the person that they can look up to.
And I think that's great. I think everybody can use some accountability and have a purpose, or be working towards a goal. whatever that goal is. You know, sometimes you see something that you want and you're just like, how could I possibly ever get there?
Mm-hmm.
And then you go do jiu-jitsu and it's like, oh, you just take step 1.
Yeah.
And then you do step 2.
Yep.
And then, you know, it kind of simplifies it. And, but yeah, I mean, the people that I've run into in those rooms, you know, like you say, there's brutes, you know, for sure. Right.
Mhm.
But mostly, man, they're intelligent people. You know, they're
Extremely.
people that are fighting maybe addiction, maybe alcoholism. They're lawyers, they're doctors. There's just people that you wouldn't imagine being in there. And the beautiful thing is when you first join into this whole world, like, you're welcomed. You know, you're the new guy, but you also come in with like a class of new guys or new people. So those kind of become your little tribe. Like, okay, you know, you learn from Steven, you train with this guy, and then you get to teach the guy below you. And that camaraderie and that like kinship between men, I think, you know, in combat, it's a bond that is hard to replicate in any other way.
It's hard to find that anywhere else. It's like the United Nations in a good way. Like, we have people from all religions, all races, all walks of life. Like you said, doctors, lawyers, felons, all on the same mat, all on a somewhat level field. Like, you know, I'll roll with doctors, lawyers, cops, and they're calling me sir. Mm-hmm. Whereas if I'm getting pulled over, I'm calling them sir. And it's like it really just brings things down to a real accountable level based off what you bring to the table. If you're a beginner, you could be the richest person in the world, but if you don't have the skills that somebody else has, they could be sleeping on the mats, and you're learning from them. So, yeah, it definitely brings things into perspective quite a bit.
Well, you've definitely earned everything that you've accomplished, my friend, you know, through hard work. And that's something to be admired, I think, in anybody who's after a pursuit. You know, it's hard. It's easy to give up. It's very hard to persist and to continue on with your goals and to find that one reason to go. So, you know, I know that you're a father. We talked earlier, and you said that, you know, you have a son.
Yeah, 11-year-old boy.
11-year-old boy.
He's his dad's kid as much as he's his mom's kid.
So that must motivate you to continue on with your path.
He's the whole reason why I didn't go off the deep end a long time ago. So he's kept me not on a straight and narrow, but on a straight path. And, you know, kid looks up to me. I have to be here for him. I have to be 1, out of jail, 2, alive, and 3, successful in at least whatever I put my mind to. So, you know, if I fail, he sees that. So I have to show him how to overcome failure. I have to show him, you know, I can't worry about myself. I have to be somebody that he can look up to. So, you know, if something bad happens, I look at him like, well, this is what I do now. Because, you know, after my last fight, I retired. He's sitting in the car. He's, you know, crying. He's like, how are you going to make money now? Well, son, I'm going to promote. I'm going to coach. I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing, and I'm going to do it even better.
That's right.
Because fighting's not the only way to make money.
And life is a fight. You know,
Life
you got to
is a
wake up.
fight.
Got to wake up every day and go get it.
Yep.
You know, people talk about gangsters. You know, gangsters wake up every day, put their pants on, go to work, and take care of their family.
Oh, you know what show I've been watching recently? The Sopranos.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
I haven't. I remember my parents watching it growing up, and just never. It was like I'm a little younger, 31, and I just remember in middle school my parents watching that, and they were like, "You need to go to fucking bed. You can't watch this." And I'm like, "I want to watch it," and just recently started watching it, like maybe like 2 months ago. It's kind of cheesy sometimes, but it's pretty good. And I'm like, I kind of want to be in the mafia, but also, no, I don't.
As a secret society, all we ask is trust. I love The Sopranos.
Wait,
man.
what?
It's a quote.
It was a great
I must have
great
missed
show.
that. Okay.
Big Pussy. Wasn't that one of the guys?
Oh yeah. Oh, you know. So you know the movie that came out. It was like the Kings of Newark or something like that.
I don't
No?
watch
Sopran-
a lot of TV and movies.
So a movie came out like I think like last year or something like that. The Kings of Newark. I'm pretty sure that's what it was called. I could be wrong. I don't know. But it was a like a prequel to The Sopranos, and his like James Gandolfini, Tony Soprano, the guy that the actor, his actual son played Tony Soprano in the movie. It was amazing because I know he like passed away like I don't know a decade ago or so, but Super good movie. It was really cool. Joey Diaz was in it as well. I don't know if you know Coco.
Joey Diaz,
Dude, I love stand-up comedy, man. It's my fucking shit. I love it.
Joey Diaz is a savage. I love his little reels. He's like Karate Joey. Joey Karate.
Mm-hmm.
He gets in his gi and he's got his white belt. He's jumping around. Joey Karate.
Are we talking about the same person? 'Cause I
Yeah,
don't think
Joey Diaz, big old comic.
I've never seen him do
Look
that.
it up, dude. Joey
Okay,
Karate,
right.
man. He's a martial artist, dude. Watch out.
What the fuck? I guess Joe Rogan got him like
Coming.
fucking. Okay.
Coming to fight fit, dude.
Alright.
He's coming.
Hey, speaking of comedy, we have a comedy roast of Ocho at the end of the Memorial Weekend Fight Fest, May 29th. It's my birthday. So, Ocho was created by getting ostracized, by getting picked on, right? So he was that guy that had to stand up for Steven. So on his birthday at the end of the Memorial Weekend Fight Fest, we're going to roast him properly, and then we're going to put him to bed.
Hey.
And Joe King is going to take over. And Joe King is going to put the fighters on the map. So Ocho's got to go down. And we invite all comedians, and I'll have a bunch of my friends that love to roast me. And we got a cool video we're working on to open that show and promote that show. But we're going to have the comedy roast of Ocho and the rise of Joe King.
I love it.
Is this going to be at the same place that the fights are going to be held at?
It might be. I don't have a location 100%, but we're pitching it to Bottle Blonde, Vivo, and minimum we could do it at the Epic as well.
Okay.
But I'd like to get some local businesses involved, and I think Bottle Blonde would be a really good venue for us.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that shit's popping over there all the time. So.
Yeah, and it's on Memorial Day, so they are generally closed, but everybody's off work. So I have a good relationship with them, so we might open it up for the comedy roast.
Is that the Shakes? Is that who it is? Imran? Or maybe, I don't know.
No, I think that they own a Citizen.
That's Citizen. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Courtney's
Yes.
like, you're wrong. Okay.
Yeah, Bottle Blonde. Mike Massoff. He's the manager up there. I know
Okay.
really well, and Stephen Hand. He used to work there as well. A bunch of those guys. I got a real good relationship. I try not to go over there too often, but I find myself there from time to time.
Why don't you go over there too often? That goes without being said.
Dallas.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you're a brave man for getting roasted. I wouldn't sit in front of my friends in front of a crowd and let them talk about me. That's for
I'd
sure.
let him do it. Fucking-
That's Ocho. He's got to go, man.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got to go. He was too wild, man. He kept on getting in fights and all that shit. So Joe King had to take over and make sure that he protected his legacy. And then Joe King's going to put him on the map.
Hell yeah.
Dope. Love it. Well, Steven,
Ocho.
appreciate you getting on, man. I really appreciate you coming to take the time and just shoot the shit with us, man. So
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I want to give a shout out to Dank Vodka. Great sponsor of mine. We're doing a legacy edition bottle. There'll be 88 prints of this label for the Dank Vodka, and each one will be labeled 1 through 88. I'm going to sign each one of them, and those will be sold, I believe, the 20th at a tasting at Total Wine in Arlington. So if you want one of those bottles, make sure you show up to the tasting. If not, price goes up.
you heard it here. So sounds like we need to go to Arlington.
Yeah.
I'm always at a fucking Specs, or I'm a big bourbon guy.
Uh-huh.
So like, or just kind of expanding my what's happening. Why are we playing this music?
I mean, I'm not a big vodka drinker, but Dank vodka made with terpenes is freaking delicious.
Okay.
So, and then it doesn't turn my face so red. When I drink a lot of liquors, my face turns red. I don't know what it is, but Dank vodka.
Courtney's got the same problem.
Yeah, it's a white people thing. I think.
I think I got
Yeah.
the same shit too, dude. I think it's like the weed in the beer or something like it does. I don't know.
It's like an Irish thing, or I mean,
probably-
I'm like slightly Irish and Norwegian, so like Viking type. So like we
Shit,
just get
dude.
red and pissed off when we drink certain liquors.
Yeah, just please don't kill me. That's fine.
Yeah. So it doesn't happen when I drink Dank. So I stick with the Dank vodka or with a premium tequila. So
It's fucking Dank,
tequila
okay.
companies get at me. Otherwise, it's dank all the way, baby.
Got you. Well, all right. Again, appreciate you getting on. Really, it's been a good time. So until next time, unless you have something else to say.
Just want to say thank you to our guests.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you.
Got you. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, y'all have a good one. Peace.
Peace.